Hey guys, it's Chrissy. I just wanted to come and post another vlog. This vlog is probably going to be the most emotional. It's something I'm very passionate about, and that is Lyme disease. Lyme disease is super frustrating. I was actually just diagnosed in November, so I'm kind of a newbie. I am just going to talk about my experience with Lyme disease. I am not a doctor. I am not recommending anything that I am saying or any treatments I have done. I am just simply here to inform you. Also, there's like that famous Albert Einstein quote that says, "Don't believe everything you read and hear on the internet." So, I mean, what I say here is not gold. I don't know. Just double check your facts. But I do really want to share it. And if there's ever a video of mine that I would ask you to share, it would be this one, because Lyme disease is, in most cases, preventable. So to have a disease that is affecting my life so much and have it be preventable in most cases, if you know you've been bit, it's just really frustrating for me. So I just kind of wanted to say all that. Out of all my diseases, I have a lot of them. Lyme disease is probably, it's just the least understood. I can go to the hospital and I can say I have RA. And RA, there's no cure. That's really frustrating. But doctors know what RA is. And they give you medicine and they give you steroids and pain medicine. And they kind of know what to do, at least to minimize the flare. I went to the hospital this summer. I was admitted for a couple days. I told them I had Lyme disease. The doctor, here comes the emotions. The doctor literally looked at me in the face. This was a cardiac electrophysiologist. He looked at me in the face and he said, "So what you're telling me is you supposedly had a test done that on this test, on this written piece of paper, it says that you have Lyme disease." I have had a doctor that has rolled their eyes and been like, pfft, when I've said I've had Lyme disease. So I actually stopped telling doctors that I have Lyme disease because I don't feel like being mocked. I don't feel like being like, Lyme disease is super serious. It affects all parts of the body. It's awful. My son, my older son, actually calls it the fruit disease. Like, oh, is it that fruit disease that's hurting mommy again today? So anyways, I want to talk about Lyme. What is Lyme? The treatments I've done for Lyme. I've actually been to 2 treatment centers, so I kind of have a lot to talk about in terms of treatment. But first of all, what is Lyme disease? So Lyme disease is an infection by the bacteria called Borrelia burgdorferi. And that is a bacteria that is shaped as a spirochete. What that means is it's kind of a spirochete is like a spiral shaped bacteria. And that means that little bugger can go and dig itself all in your body. It digs itself into your muscles, into your joints, into your brain, into your immune system. I mean, everywhere. And it's also extremely good at hiding. So when you go to get tested for it, usually if you're not tested within the first few months of getting bit, or anyways, it doesn't show up. So it doesn't show up on testing. And the testing that the CDC has for Lyme disease is majority of the time inaccurate and does not actually catch Lyme disease. So there's Lyme disease, there's Borrelia burgdorferi, and then unfortunately, that little tick that bites you or bites your dog or whatever, however you get infected, can also have co-infection. So it does not just have Lyme disease, it can carry other diseases along with it. So that's why normally when you get tested for Lyme in the proper way, you get tested for Lyme disease and you also get tested for co-infections because there's a different way to treat all of it. So Lyme disease affects just your whole body. I can't even describe how much my body has been affected by it, but it can be prevented, as I said. If you properly remove a tick, you can send it in for testing if you don't have the bullseye rash. If you have a bullseye rash, you have Lyme disease. So you need to go and you need to either, if you're not in a state that acknowledges Lyme disease, or you're not seeing the right Lyme doctor, or you're in the ER, you have to advocate for yourself to get antibiotics. And listen, I know the antibiotics are not great. I try to not give myself antibiotics whenever I can. I try not to give my children antibiotics. I know what it does to your stomach. Trust me, it is worth taking a month of antibiotics to help kill this than it is to suffer for a lifetime. It is worth the extra steps of paying money to properly replace the tick and send it in for testing to see if it has any of these infections in the tick to save you a lifetime of just anguish. Some of the symptoms for Lyme disease are fatigue, joint pain, muscle aches, brain fog, anxiety, depression, heart palpitations. My legs felt like they were like 5 million pounds. I had a really hard time walking because they just felt so heavy. And so it's just the symptoms are horrible. Anyways, Lyme disease is also called the great imitator. It mimics so many different diseases, so that's another reason why it's super hard to diagnose. It can mimic MS, ALS, Parkinson's disease. You can also get all of these diseases from Lyme disease. So it is a super complicated disease to have and to treat. My Lyme, I was actually diagnosed with chronic neurological Lyme disease and co-infection. So I have Lyme is infected in my brain and in my whole body. I actually don't remember being bit by a tick. I remember we were living in North Carolina. My dog had ticks on her. I pulled them off her, but I myself do not remember being bit by a tick. Probably back in September of 2017, I was not feeling well. And I said, okay, what do I do? And my doctor said, a holistic integrated medicine doctor in the States, the only one that I see for Lyme right now. So let's test for Lyme disease. So I got the regular CDC ELISA test. I think that's how you pronounce it, ELISA test for Lyme disease, and it came back negative. So this test it's just not sensitive enough, and it often provides a false negative. The more sensitive test is called the IgG or IgM test, and those are Western blot tests. So IgG and IgM, Western blot tests, and usually the best company that I've heard, the gold standard, is IGeneX. It is ridiculously expensive to get tested for Lyme disease, but I would recommend, again, Lyme disease stinks because it's super expensive. Insurance doesn't cover it. Doctors don't believe it. And you're suffering in all this pain, and there's not much you can do about it. So you have to spend thousands of dollars to get tested, because the test that the government does say will tell you if you have Lyme disease doesn't, and therefore you need to get tested. So that's, I can post a link below if I figure that out, I don't know, to the IGeneX site, and I'll try to post some other helpful links that I have found. Okay, so I found out in November and I got the IGeneX test finally, and I found out in November that I had, like I said, neurological Lyme disease and co-infections. So for treatment, I have actually been to 2 places to treat Lyme disease, one in Mexico and one in Utah. I'm not going to say either of their names, just because I had some negative experiences in both places. However, I believe in the treatment. I believe I've seen both of these places heal lots of people. Just because I saw some things I didn't agree with or felt some things I didn't agree with, I don't want to taint their reputation. So I'm just going to leave the names out. If you really would like to know or are interested for treatment for yourself, feel free to message me, but I'm just going to call it the Mexico place and the States place. So the first place I went to was in Mexico for 2 weeks. I decided to go there because I had actually been to this place earlier that year in May, just for helping my autoimmune diseases. So when I was there for that, there was this Amish family, and they said, this is like the best place to be treated for Lyme. They lived in Pennsylvania, which is the highest, has the highest cases of Lyme disease out of all the United States. So they were there for Lyme treatment. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go back to this place for Lyme treatment. So you're there for 2 weeks, and the main treatment that they do is called whole body hyperthermia. And that is when there's hypothermia, that's when you're cold, and there's hyperthermia, and that's when you're hot. And basically you are in a medically induced fever And in Mexico, I was put under, so they use anesthesia because it's a several hour thing, and they try to get you to 106 degrees Fahrenheit. They use this cooker. You can see a picture up here. They use basically this thing that looks like a cooker to cook you and heat you up and get your temperature up. And I think I got to 106.7 for an hour, and it was extremely hard. In Salt Lake City, in Utah, the treatment was whole body hyperthermia. They don't knock you out, you're awake, and it's basically using hot water to raise your temperature. And my goal was like 105 degrees, but that we will get to in a minute, and was the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life, harder than labor. Oh my goodness. Okay, so then they also use blood ozone, which is where they take your blood out. They mix it with ozone. It's supposed to get rid of all the infection and bad stuff, and then they put it back in. They use hyperbaric oxygen when you're in this like oxygen treatment, and the oxygen's supposed to go and it helps oxygenate your blood to get rid of infection. You get lots of IVs, which it's not a horrible place to get an IV, and then you take a lot of supplements. The second place I went to was in the States, and that had like a procedure and was supposed to be for 2 weeks. I only did it for 1, and every day you would do the same routine. So you would come, and they called it a crunchy shake. Like, the most disgusting thing I've ever had to drink. Oh. So anyways, they give you the shake, you drink it, then you go on a bike for 10 or 12 minutes, and that's to wake up your muscles, to wake up your body, say, hey, let's go, let's get rid of this Lyme, let's wake up. Then you go into this suit, and start to do whole body hyperthermia. I really struggled with this. It was extremely hard. It tires your body out so much, and in the suit, it was really hard for me to get to temperature. When I did it at home, it was much easier to get to temperature. But I was passing out, and it was crazy. No, thank you. But I did that, and then you go into this health pod thing I'll post above. It shakes you, and there's electromagnetic fields that go through you that help loosen everything and get to the cells. And then you see on this G-force machine, it's also called rebounding, which shakes your body up and down really fast, and that helps your lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system runs vertically, so it helps boost your immune system, drain all the toxins out. And then you sit on a PEMF bed, which is a pulse electric magnetic field bed, while holding a Rife machine, which basically feels like you're getting electrocuted. I believe I have sat on a PEMF bed, and I've been in a lot of pain in my body, and it has seriously helped with pain. So I totally believe in that. So I have not done hyperthermia since May. I was supposed to continue the treatment of doing hyperthermia 3 times a week in my hot tub. I have not been able to do it because of my heart and health. So unfortunately, Lyme disease and depression and anxiety go hand in hand, and it is extremely hard, not only with the chemical imbalance that Lyme disease causes in your brain, but just not being understood. The rise of suicide in Lyme disease is crazy. There's just so many reasons, and I just want to say I'm really sorry if you feel alone. I'm really sorry if people don't take you seriously, but I am here for you, and we can beat this together, and there is ways to get help. These little munchkins help give me a little bit of joy. But anyways, I'm here for you. Let me know. That's it. Please share, please comment, please let me know if there's anything I could do for you guys.